hooch here, which is actually just homemade wine. I already got a tablespoon of sugar in the bowl. I'm going to pour a little juice in there just to fill it up a little bit. What I'm making is juicy juice, 100% berry. It's 100% juice. You stir the sugar up in the juice a little bit. Make sure it's all dissolved good. Sometimes it gets all over the place. It's alright. Don't worry about it. One thing, remember, it's like a hobby. Have fun doing it. That looks pretty good right there. Okay. Now, today I'm going to be using this yeast here. It's for wine making. This is for berries. I don't know if you can see it good. I also have another kind here for wine making. This is for apple and white grape. And here's another one for champagne. This we use for making homemade root beer. That's a champagne yeast. You don't want to use that in your wine making. You just want to use these two in your wine making. Today, right now on this one, I'm going to use the 71B1122. I'm going to cut it open. Just put that right there for now. Everything's been sanitized already. I have 5-star sanitizer. Everything's been sanitized. My airlocks, my bowls, my funnels, sugar, measuring cup, everything's been sanitized. I mix that, make a gallon out of it, put a little in my spray bottle. And that's how I sanitize everything. I've sanitized the whole table and everything. Take your yeast, sprinkle it all over the top. Make sure it's spread out. This has to sit about 15 minutes. You'll see it starting to settle and it'll start foaming up. You'll know it's working then. This I'm going to set aside for a second. I'm going to get my sugar in here. What I have to do is, this is full to the top. I wouldn't be able to get nothing in there, so I have to pour some out. Pour it out into this. This bottle here I'm pouring into is also sanitized. Bring it down to about there. This says racking because I use this for racking wine too, but right now I'm going to use it for a little storage. But then I want to get 2.5 cups into this. Here's 2 cups already. You'll see it going in. There's 2 cups. And I want to get another half. You don't have to use this kind of sugar. Any white table sugar will work. This is kind of expensive. Now another half a cup. Now this is if you want to make a sweet wine, this much sugar. There's the other half. There's 2.5 cups of sugar in here now. This over here. Make sure everything's out of your funnel or you're going to have a mess. Put that there. Take the lid that come off the same bottle. Remember, this bottle don't have to be sanitized or nothing because this was a fresh bottle. It's already sanitized. You'll see all the sugar in the bottom there. You gotta just shake it up. Also, I warmed the juice up in a little hot water. So this juice it's approximately 80 degrees. Makes it a little easier to dilute the sugar. All my yeast and everything I got from a wine supply store. Actually, I think he's, I don't know if I can give you the name or not, but it's 112 Excelsior Avenue, Saratoga Springs, New York. I really don't want to say the name, but that's the address if you need to go there. He's got everything there. Actually, he's turning into a pretty good friend of mine. Make sure it's all diluted. You don't want to see no sugar at the bottom. And when I'm trying to get the sugar diluted, and I'm trying to let the yeast sit for about 15 minutes, I'm going to keep shaking and I'll be right back. Here's some wine I made already. The clarity's pretty good. I made this about 2 months ago. It's good clarity. You can see on the glass all the alcohol in it. This here is 25% alcohol, which is really high, and it's a sweet wine, so it's almost like a dessert wine or a port or a sherry. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, I don't know if you could see it or not, but the yeast, I already got the sugar diluted in the juice, but the yeast is right there. It's already settled to the bottom. Pretty soon you'll start to see it foam, and then it'll be ready. Why I do this is to make sure the yeast is good. Sometimes you get a bad batch of yeast. I haven't yet, but I've heard of it happening, so I do it this way just to make sure the yeast is active and it's working, everything's fine, ready to go. But that's how I do it. And like I said, just a teaspoon of sugar and juice, and just let it sit there 15 minutes. And the foaming on the juice is okay, that'll go away. But the sugar's in there, it's pretty much diluted. And okay, I'll be right back. Alright, while we're waiting for the yeast, it's starting to come up to the top now. What I want to show you is some kind of airlocks. Here's a regular airlock that you go buy at the wine supply store. It's an airlock with a rubber bung, which is the size on it is a 7.5, fits these juicy juice bottles perfectly. And you would fill it, there's a line there to fill the water to. You don't have to go up to that, but you have to have quite a bit of water in it. It's got to be at least about halfway. There's one kind of airlock. Here's another kind of airlock I made. Just goes onto the juicy juice bottle. You fill this with water up to this fill line, and the hose is just below water level where it'll bubble in there. You gotta let your carbon dioxide out, which you don't want no air back into your wine. So there's another kind of airlock I made. I've seen some people on the internet, they just take and loosen the cap a little. If you don't have no money for an airlock or nothing, you don't want to make one, just loosen the cap a little so the air can come out. Not the best way to do it, because air can eventually get back inside, but I've seen people on the internet do it like that. Alright, the yeast is starting to come to the top. A couple more minutes. Couple more minutes. Alright, we're back again. And the yeast is starting to work. If you look here, you'll see it's starting to foam. And actually it's activated. You can see the foam on it. And I don't know if I'm too close here, but you'll see it. See the foam in it and stuff? That foam is the yeast working. With the sugar, the teaspoon of sugar I put in here and the juice, and it's working now, which I know it's good to go in my wine now. See the foam? Okay. Sorry about moving the camera. It's only me here and I'm trying to show you. Okay. Alright. Sugar's all dissolved. Shook it for about 3-4 minutes. So now what I'm going to do So I'm going to get my yeast in here now. All my 2.5 cups of sugar in here. My yeast is in this bowl, working. So I know it's working. And I'm going to pour it in there. Sometimes I'll put juice from raisins in here, which is really just a nutrition for the yeast. This time I'm not going to use raisins because it comes out really good without the raisins too. So make sure you get the yeast stirred up a little bit. Everything's gentle with the yeast. You don't want to overwork the yeast. You'll kill it. And just pour it in there. Nothing in the bowl now. Now, when I pour it into the other bottle, I'm going to top this off. I'll pull this up a little bit and clean out the yeast, what's in the funnel and stuff. There's going to be a little yeast in the funnel. Just rinse it out. It's all rinsed out. Now just finish filling it up. You don't want to have too much air in this, okay? I know I'm using a rubber bung on this. I'm going to use a regular airlock on this one. So I have to fill it up till, you know, right about in here, because I don't want too much air. So a little bit more maybe. Okay, that's good right there. This cap goes there. This one goes here. And now the yeast and everything's in here. Just mix it up a little bit. Don't shake it hard. Just slowly work your yeast around the whole juice bottle. Real slow. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but the yeast is all floating around in there now. And that's it. I'll take my cap off. I'll put my rubber bung on there with my airlock. You gotta make sure everything's sealed good. And that is sealed good. Okay. Okay, take your cap off your airlock. This has little holes in it too. I don't know if you can see them, but there's little holes in that. I guess keep bugs out or something, I don't know. Because if you're doing this in the summertime, sometimes you'll have problems with fruit flies. And now I'll take my syringe because I know how much water I need. I just use this because it cuts down on the mess of the water. Just a regular medicine syringe. Put it in there. And you want to fill it up to about here. So you put that in there. And right about there is where the water is. That's fine. Put your cap on. Make sure the rubber bung's on good. Don't let none of your water go back in here into the bottle. Make sure your water stays in the airlock. And there you go. In about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, come back, rack it. You got some good wine. This is about a month ago, nice and clear. And like I said, you can see the alcohol in the glass and everything. It's 25%. So that would make it 50 proof, I guess. And that's a bottle of berry wine being made. About 2.5 weeks it'll be done. You'll see it's starting to bubble already. More water's over here. Okay, I only have 7 more to go. Alright, till next time. Thanks.